is whatever a person does should be l'shem shemayim. Eating, drinking, sleeping, business, marital relations, everything should be in a proper way. Even davening should be done in a proper way. Yeah. Then it says also like this: when you do business or you're making a living to own a business, whatever it is, the intent should not just be to get money, but the purpose of getting money is to have children, giving tzedakah. Basically, bottom line of it, the whole din is that a person's obligated to make sure whatever they do is to serve Hashem. He brings down over here an interesting din, even though it's not relevant to these dinim. The Gemara tells us, it's a famous Gemara, that Rabbi Yosef, the famous Rabbi Yosef at the Gemara, when he turned 60, he threw a party. Why did he throw a party? Because he said, I'm out of the chorus range. I'm out of the chorus range. And therefore he threw a party. So from there, Poskim want to say that you're allowed to make a birthday party. And Bechlal, by Yidden, for many, many generations, they weren't into birthday parties. From Yidden didn't make birthday parties for many hundreds of years. We find in Chumash a birthday party, but that was for Pari. Pari made a birthday party with the baker and the butler. That's when he fired one, killed one, and rehired one, or whatever. But the Rebbe spoke many years ago that Jewish people should celebrate their birthday. The Adrabah should celebrate their birthday. They should make a gathering with friends, and they should say Dvar Torah, and they should give tzedakah, and it should be utilized as something positive and something concrete. And in fact, it says in Yerushalmi that when on a day of somebody's birthday, his mazol geivar, his mazel is very powerful. It's a victorious time for the person. It's a mazel dika time for the person. To the extent, there are some people that want to say on a person's birthday you don't say tachnun, but our meaning is that on a birthday you do say tachnun. Unless if it's a day that you don't say tachnun anyway. There's another interesting shaila in halacha. How about a bar mitzvah boy the day he becomes bar mitzvah? Does he say tachnun or not? So the Gemara, it says in the Zohar that when Rashbi, when his son Rabbi Elazar became bar mitzvah, Rashbi made a party like a wedding. So some people want to say, so therefore bar mitzvah is like a chasana, just like a bar mitzvah, a chasana you don't say tachnun, a bar mitzvah you don't say tachnun. But the Rebbe negates that, and the Rebbe writes clearly that on day of a bar mitzvah there's no better time to say tachnun. A bar mitzvah boy is starting the adult life of obligations and mitzvahs, because there's no better time for a bar mitzvah boy to say tachnun. But as far as that goes, basically people should make birthdays, celebrate birthdays, and there's a whole list of things from the Rebbe what people should do on the day of their birthday. Okay, next thing over here is Shmiras Haguf al Pi HaTeva. There's a din in the Torah, Ushmarta Ma'od L'Nafshi Seichem. You have to guard your health extremely. It doesn't say Ushmartam L'Nafshi Seichem. It says Ushmartam Ma'od L'Nafshi Seichem. You have to be extremely careful when it comes to health. In fact, the Rambam quotes, and there's a word missing in the Rambam that the Rebbe always puts in, so they had to, otherwise the text doesn't make sense. The Rambam says, a yesa guf body v'sholim medarki avodas Hashemhu. The Rebbe adds the word avodas. And you say it can't be any other way, otherwise it just doesn't make sense. That a person, to be healthy, is part of the way to serving Hashem. Why a sick person can't serve Hashem properly? You're sick. So you can't daven properly, you can't learn properly, you can't do mitzvahs properly. So therefore, a person is obligated, according to halacha, not to eat and do things that they are dangerous to themselves, and to do things that basically promote health. Based on that, basically, people are not allowed to be eating today, and people should not be allowed to be drinking today, and people shouldn't be doing a lot of things which are all unhealthy today. But that's a separate issue. The Moshe Feinstein has a tshuva. Somebody asked him, this is already after doctors said smoking is not healthy. So the shaila that somebody asked him was, if somebody asks you for a cigarette, are you allowed to give it to them or not? What's the shaila? If they either before a blind man, you're not allowed to put a stumbling block, which means you're not allowed to help somebody do an aveda. So the question is, if smoking is unhealthy, and doctors say it's unhealthy, and therefore, according to Torah, you're not allowed to smoke, this is what he writes in the Chul. So now the question is, if somebody asks you for a cigarette, are you allowed to give him a cigarette or anything like that? The pearl, he wants to say you really shouldn't, and it's a question in halacha. But it's, by the way, it's a very big shaila today about doing all these things. Then basically, based on that, l'chayra though, most of the foods you eat today have junk in them. So the question is, should a person be a health nut and only eat healthy foods and organics and this and that? The pearl, the minig is that you don't do that stuff. But it's still a din in Shulchan Aruch that a person has to be healthy. You're not allowed to do things that are endangering your health, and you have to do things that make keep you healthy. What
about eating too much meat?
That's what I'm saying. Based on that, you shouldn't eat a lot of meat.
In last week's parsha, Rashi said that you shouldn't eat too much meat to the point of swell.
Yeah, right.
Is that...
B'chlal people shouldn't eat.
Is that a health reason?
Today in America, they say, I'm stuffed. You know, when they eat a lot, they say, I'm stuffed. Turkeys are stuffed. People are not stuffed. It's not a Yiddish word to say, I'm stuffed. And b'chlal, we'll see in the Rambam, even though Taisus and Meid Cotton also says that all the health issues in the time of the Gemara didn't apply in his time. In Taisus' time, which was not much from the Rishonim, it was not much after the era of the Gemara. And the same thing, the Poskim write, the Rambam writes a whole diet in Hilchos Deis. And then he writes at the end, whoever keeps this diet properly, I guarantee you will never be sick a day in their life. But Pearl, a lot of the things that Rambam writes don't apply today. You know, there's a lot of things that Rambam says you should eat, that doctors say today you shouldn't eat, but you do eat. The poskim write that because the body's changed, there's a rule in halacha that the body's changed. Over the generations, the physical body of a people changed. And therefore, things that were unhealthy then are not necessarily unhealthy today. Things that were healthy then are not necessarily healthy today. So everything works. Doctors say, b'chlal, that you shouldn't eat too much meat. Too much meat is not healthy. But there are times the Torah says you have to eat meat. Shabbos, Yom Tov, Chol Hamoed, the Torah says, Simachta b'chagecha, ein simcha ela b'basar. And 1 second, according to many opinions, many poskim write that when the Torah says on Yom Tov, ein simcha ela b'basar, it means not chicken, it means meat. According to many poskim, in order to have simcha and yom tov, you need meat and wine. They say wine. This is what they paskin. Wine doesn't mean grape juice; it means actual wine. And meat doesn't mean chicken; it means actual meat. But halacha says, if you don't like them, or you don't, for your health reasons, you don't eat them, then that din doesn't apply, because it's supposed to be simcha. If it causes you agony and sad, then obviously you're not supposed to eat it. So again, a person should be like they say, eat in moderation. But to say a person shouldn't eat anything that's, I don't know. Okay, so he says, people have different natures. People have different natures. In fact, the Rambam writes, which again, most people write that doesn't apply today, but the Rambam writes, there's a great rule in medicine that before eating, you should walk a lot or do work until your body gets heated up, and then you should, basically build up an appetite, and then you should eat. And then you should sit, and you should recline on the left side, and after eating, you should move around a lot, because then the food doesn't go down properly. Today, again, all these dinim really don't apply. But it does say in Shulchan Aruch, and the Alter Rebbe brings this down also in Hilchos Maser, in Shulchan Aruch, that a person should accustom themselves to eat breakfast. The Gemara says, you should accustom yourself to eat pas shachris, which basically means breakfast. And also when you eat foods, if you're eating foods, you should eat the lighter food before the heavier food. To give a classic, simple example of that is the minig in all Yiddish houses. On Shabbos, okay, you make Kiddush, you make Hameitzi. What's the first course? Fish. What's the next course? Chicken, meat. First fish, and then you have. That's based on halacha, by the way. Because halacha says, if you're eating fish and meat, fish is the lighter food, meat is the heavier food. So halachically, you have to eat the lighter, it's preferred, you don't have to. You should eat the lighter food first, and then the heavier food. Therefore, the Yiddish minig is that you have first fish, and then you have meat. What happens though? Somebody asked me this the other day. What happens if you have meat? Can I have fish afterwards? So again, halacha is if you rinse your mouth and you eat something between the fish and the meat, or the meat and the fish, so then halachically you're allowed to have fish after meat also. It's just preferable when you're sitting down to eat it. So first you have the lighter food, and then you have the heavier food. According to the Rambam, a person should not eat fruits. Should basically not eat fruits. Today they'll tell you fruits are healthier. Okay, whatever. But again, the poskim write clearly that this doesn't mean the Rambam's wrong. In his time, the Rambam say what health was in his time. In his time, it was not healthy to eat fruit. Today, they say it is healthy to eat fruit.
Too much sugar.
Huh?
Too much sugar.
What? In fruit?
Natural.
But it's natural sugar though. Okay? Again. So then the whole deen, I'll give another example that doesn't exist today. The Rambam writes, this is all Kitzur brings down mamash word verbatim from the Rambam. In Kitzur, the Rambam, it says, you should go to a bathhouse once a week. You should take a shower once a week. Obviously today nobody does it. And you shouldn't go into the merchatz, meaning to a bath or a shower, when you're hungry, or not when you're very hungry, not when you're full. When the food begins to digest. You should wait a little bit after eating. And then you should wash your body with hot water and then warm water. And then you keep it going less warm, less warm, less warm until you wash with cold water. It's very simple. The reason for that is, everybody knows, heat opens the pores. So if you want to clean your body, when you wash in hot water, so then the pores open up and then the dirt can come out. Then you want to close the pores that the dirt doesn't go back in. So what do? You start bathing with hot water, and then you don't want to go extreme, right from very hot to very cold. That's also not healthy. So then you'll go gradual, the Rambam says. You start very hot, and then less, until you wash in cold water. And then he says like this, when you go out of the bathhouse, you should get dressed, and you should cover your head, that you shouldn't get a cold wind on the face, which would be a problem. And you should rest a little bit after you go out of the bathhouse. And he says, the best thing to do is go to the bathhouse before eating, and then rest a little bit, and then go eat. And the Rambam said that's the best way of doing it. Another din the Rambam says, a person has to live in a city with clean air.
Like LA.
Well, LA is much better than it used to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, when I moved here 40-some years ago, the smog was heavy.
No.
You couldn't rarely see the mountains. There was always smog. Now it got much better.
You went over the 405.
Huh?
You went over the 405.
Yeah, but I'm saying now it got much better. They made
Going to the valley, you see before the 405 goes down, you see the valley.
the smog.
Yeah.
Okay, people shouldn't be living in the valley. They should be living in the hills. Should they be living up or down? You have to live up.
Now it's fine.
Yeah, but you have to live in the hills, not in the valley.
Pollution
The only good place to daven is in the valley because mimamakim krasich Hashem, out of the depths. What?
It sounds like the Rambam, there was pollution, air pollution.
No, but there was. You listen. They had factories of some sort that gave out smoke. They had goldsmiths and blacksmiths. I mean, they emitted smoke, which wasn't healthy. Well, the Rambam says you have to live in a place where the air is clean and in a broad house and whatever. Okay.